Most Toyota owners sit in their car on a freezing morning, turn the key, and wait. The climate control system decides when to blow warm air. It decides how fast the fan runs. It decides whether the air conditioning compressor kicks in or stays off. And most drivers just accept it because they assume the system knows best. But here is the truth. Toyota never advertises. Your climate control system has built-in overrides, hidden logic, and manual bypass options that give you full control over heating, cooling, and airflow, even when the computer tries to lock you out. These are not aftermarket hacks. They are engineered into the system. Dealerships charge hundreds of dollars diagnosing climate complaints that could be solved in seconds with the right knowledge. Once you understand how Toyota's climate logic actually works, you stop being a passenger in your own cabin and you start controlling the environment the way Toyota engineers originally intended. Override number 1, forcing the air conditioning compressor on when the system blocks it. Toyota's climate control system is designed to protect the air conditioning compressor from damage, which sounds smart until it locks you out on a humid 55-degree morning when your windshield is fogging and you can't see the road. In most Toyota models, the air conditioning compressor is programmed to shut off automatically when outside temperatures drop below a certain threshold, usually around 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The system assumes you do not need cooling in cold weather, but that assumption ignores one critical function. The air conditioning compressor does not just cool air, it removes moisture. That's why your windshield defrosts faster with the air conditioning button engaged. The compressor pulls humidity out of the cabin air before it hits the cold glass. Without it, the blower just pushes wet air against a frozen surface and makes fogging worse. On most Toyota models equipped with automatic climate control, pressing the air conditioning button manually while in defrost mode forces the compressor to engage regardless of outside temperature. The system may resist briefly, but the manual input overrides the automatic lockout. On older models with manual heating, ventilation, and air conditioning controls, pressing the air conditioning button and switching to fresh air intake simultaneously bypasses the temperature-based restriction entirely. This is not a glitch. Toyota designed the manual override specifically for situations where the automatic logic does not match real-world conditions. Dealerships see hundreds of fog complaints every winter from owners who never knew a single button press could fix it. That one visit costs the driver a diagnostic fee for a problem that never existed. Override number 2, disabling auto recirculation to stop stale cabin air. Toyota's automatic climate control includes a feature most owners never notice. In auto mode, the system constantly switches between fresh outside air and recirculated cabin air based on sensor readings. It monitors temperature, humidity, and sometimes air quality. When conditions change, the system closes the fresh air intake and begins recirculating whatever is already inside the cabin. The problem is that recirculated air becomes stale faster than most people realize. Carbon dioxide levels rise, moisture builds, and the cabin starts feeling stuffy even though the temperature reads perfectly on the display. Drivers often crack a window to fix this without understanding why the air felt wrong. The override is simple. Pressing the recirculation button manually while in auto mode forces the system into fresh air intake and locks it there. The automatic switching stops, and outside air flows continuously through the cabin filter. This gives the driver direct control over air quality without disabling the rest of the automatic climate functions. Toyota includes this manual override because the sensors that control automatic recirculation cannot measure driver comfort. They measure temperature and humidity, but not how the air actually feels to breathe. Once you take control of this one setting, long drives feel completely different. The cabin stays fresher, windows fog less, and that vague headache from highway driving often disappears entirely. Override number 3, the hidden climate diagnostic mode. This is one Toyota actively keeps quiet about, and it is the closest thing to a dealer-level scan tool built directly into your dashboard. On many Toyota and Lexus models equipped with automatic climate control, there is a self-diagnostic mode hidden inside the HVAC panel. The activation sequence varies slightly by generation, but the most common method works like this. With the ignition switched to the on position, but with the engine off, press and hold the auto button and the recirculation button simultaneously. While holding both, rotate the temperature knob or the fan speed dial one click. The climate display will suddenly change, showing sensor codes and numerical readouts instead of temperature settings. What you are seeing is Toyota's internal diagnostic system checking every sensor tied to the climate control module. The cabin temperature sensor, the outside air temperature sensor, the evaporator temperature sensor, the solar sensor on the dashboard, and the blend door actuator positions are all reported in real time. A display showing all zeros or steady values means the system is functioning correctly. Any code that appears abnormal points directly to the failed component. This diagnostic mode exists because Toyota engineers needed a fast way to test HVAC systems on the assembly line without plugging in external scan tools. It was never removed from production vehicles. It simply went undocumented in owners' manuals. Dealerships use this exact function during climate complaints, then charge a full diagnostic labor rate for information the driver could have accessed for free in their own driveway. Knowing this mode exists does not just save money. It gives you the ability to walk into any repair shop with specific sensor data instead of vague complaints about temperature. If you made it this far, then consider liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel. This helps me bring you more honest car advice. Override number 4, resetting blend door actuator calibration without a dealer visit. One of the most common climate control complaints on Toyota vehicles is uneven temperature. Cold air blows from one side while warm air comes from the other. The vents feel stuck on one setting regardless of what the controls say. In almost every case, the problem is not a broken part. It is a blend door actuator that has lost its calibration. Blend door actuators are small electric motors mounted behind the dashboard that control the position of internal flaps directing airflow between the heater core and the evaporator. Toyota's climate control module stores the position data for these actuators in memory. When power is interrupted, whether from a dead battery, a jump start, or even a fuse replacement, that stored position data can become corrupted. The actuator thinks it's in one position while the door is physically somewhere else. The recalibration process is straightforward, but almost no owner knows it exists. Disconnect the negative battery terminal and wait a full 60 seconds. This clears the stored actuator positions from the climate control module's memory. When the battery is reconnected and the ignition is turned on, the system runs a full recalibration sweep. You may hear a faint clicking or humming sound behind the dashboard as the actuators move through their entire range of motion and relearn their endpoints. Once the cycle completes, usually within 30 to 60 seconds, the climate system operates as if it were brand new. Temperature distribution becomes even, blend doors respond accurately to control inputs, and that annoying hot-cold split disappears. Dealerships charge anywhere from $150 to over $400 to diagnose and fix this exact issue. In many cases, the technician performs the same battery reset procedure and calls it a recalibration service. The part wasn't broken. The software just needed to relearn where everything was. A 5-minute reset in your own garage replaces a half day at the dealer. Override number 5 forces maximum defrost power beyond the automatic setting. Toyota's automatic defrost mode is conservative by design. When you press the defrost button, the system raises fan speed, directs air to the windshield, and engages the air conditioning compressor. But it does all of this within limits set by the automatic climate logic. The system balances defrost performance against cabin comfort, noise levels, and compressor protection. In real-world conditions, this balanced approach sometimes is not aggressive enough. Heavy frost, ice buildup, or extreme interior condensation can overwhelm the automatic defrost setting, leaving the driver waiting minutes for visibility while the system gradually ramps up. The override requires you to set the fan speed to maximum, press the defrost button, engage the air conditioning compressor manually, and switch the air intake to fresh air, all at the same time. This combination bypasses automatic throttling and forces the system to deliver maximum dehumidified airflow directly to the windshield. The difference is dramatic. What normally takes 4 to 5 minutes in automatic mode clears in under 2 minutes. Toyota's automatic logic holds back because it prioritizes quiet operation and gradual temperature changes. Manual override prioritizes visibility and safety. In freezing rain, heavy fog, or sudden temperature drops, those extra minutes of waiting can be the difference between seeing the road and driving blind. Once the windshield clears, switching back to automatic mode returns the system to normal, balanced operation. No settings are permanently changed, and no damage occurs to the compressor or blower motor from the temporary high-demand operation. Toyota designed the components to handle full output. The automatic system simply chooses not to use it unless the driver steps in. Override number 6. Cabin temperature sensor cleaning for accurate readings. Toyota's automatic climate control relies heavily on a small cabin temperature sensor, usually located near the steering column or in the lower dashboard area. This sensor contains a tiny thermistor and a small aspirator fan that draws cabin air across it to measure the actual interior temperature. When the sensor becomes clogged with dust, pet hair, or debris, it feeds incorrect readings to the climate control module. The system then heats or cools the cabin based on false data. Drivers notice the temperature never feels right despite the display showing the correct set point. The car overcools in summer or overheats in winter, and adjusting the temperature dial by a degree or two never quite fixes it. Most owners assume the system is failing when the sensor simply needs to be cleaned. Locate the sensor and gently clear the opening with compressed air or a soft brush to restore accurate readings immediately. Once the sensor feeds correct data, the automatic system starts responding the way it was originally calibrated. This 5-minute cleaning eliminates one of the most common reasons Toyota owners lose faith in their automatic climate control. Dealerships often diagnose this as a sensor replacement, quoting parts and labor, when cleaning alone would have solved it. Override number 7. Controlling rear climate zones from the front panel. On Toyota models equipped with dual or tri-zone climate control, the rear passengers have their own temperature and fan controls. Many owners do not realize the driver can override rear settings directly from the front panel. Pressing the rear sync or rear lock button on the front climate control panel forces the rear zone to match the driver's settings. This is useful when children or passengers constantly adjust the rear controls to extreme settings that waste fuel or strain the system. The override also prevents situations where the rear zone is set to maximum heat while the front runs full cold, forcing the compressor and heater core to work against each other simultaneously. That competing demand increases fuel consumption and accelerates wear on both the compressor clutch and the heater control valve. Taking control from the front panel keeps the entire system working in one direction, which improves efficiency and reduces mechanical stress. Toyota includes this feature specifically for drivers who want unified cabin comfort without constantly reaching behind to adjust rear controls. Override number 8. Stopping the automatic fan speed drop during phone calls. Many Toyota owners notice that when a phone call connects through Bluetooth, the automatic climate control quietly reduces fan speed to lower cabin noise. Toyota's audio system communicates with the climate module to create a quieter environment for hands-free calls. While this sounds thoughtful, it can be frustrating in extreme temperatures when you need full cooling or heating, and the system decides your phone call matters more than cabin comfort. Drivers often just notice the car suddenly feels warmer during a call and assume the sun shifted or traffic slowed down. The override is straightforward. Switching the fan speed to manual control before or during a call prevents the automatic reduction. The climate system continues operating at whatever speed you set, and the Bluetooth audio adjusts its own volume independently. Once the call ends, you can return to auto mode, and the system resumes normal fan management. This interaction between the audio and climate systems is one of those invisible Toyota engineering decisions that most drivers never connect to the problem they are feeling. Understanding the connection eliminates the mystery and puts fan control back where it belongs, with the driver. Override number 9. Using the solar sensor to your advantage. Mounted on top of the dashboard, usually near the base of the windshield, is a small dome-shaped sensor most Toyota owners have never noticed. This is the solar intensity sensor, and it plays a bigger role in climate control behavior than most people realize. Toyota's automatic climate system uses this sensor to detect direct sunlight hitting the cabin. When the sensor registers strong solar radiation, the system automatically increases cooling output on the sun-exposed side of the vehicle without changing the displayed temperature. This is why your Toyota sometimes feels like it is blowing colder air, even though you did not touch the controls. The system is compensating for heat gain through the glass. But here is what matters for the driver. If this sensor is blocked by a phone mount, a dash cam, papers, or heavy dashboard clutter, the automatic system loses its ability to compensate for sunlight. The cabin heats unevenly, the driver's side gets uncomfortable, and the climate system appears to malfunction. Keeping the solar sensor clear and unobstructed allows the automatic system to perform the way Toyota calibrated it. It is a passive override in the sense that simply respecting the sensor's line of sight unlocks a layer of climate intelligence that most owners accidentally disable without knowing it. Override number 10 is the post-service climate control recalibration that most shops skip. After any service that involves disconnecting the battery, replacing the cabin air filter housing, or working near the HVAC system, Toyota's climate control module may need to relearn its baseline settings. This relearn step is easy to miss. Most independent shops and even some dealerships skip this step because the car appears to work normally at first. But over the following days, owners notice the temperature feels slightly off, the fan speed in automatic mode seems wrong, or the system hunts between settings without settling. This happens because the climate module lost its learned corrections. Toyota's automatic system does not rely solely on factory calibration. It adapts over time to sensor drift, actuator wear, and environmental patterns specific to how the owner drives. When that learned data disappears, the system reverts to generic factory defaults that may not match the current state of the components. A full recalibration cycle requires running the climate system in automatic mode with the engine at operating temperature for 15 to 20 minutes while parked. During this period, the module rereads all sensor inputs, sweeps all actuators, and stores new baseline positions. Allowing 15 to 20 minutes is the key. This simple procedure restores the personalized climate behavior that makes Toyota's automatic system feel intuitive instead of random. Skipping it means the system operates on outdated assumptions until it slowly relearns on its own, which can take weeks of daily driving. Every override in this video exists because Toyota built climate control systems with more intelligence and flexibility than the owner's manual reveals. The automatic mode is a starting point, not a limitation. Drivers who understand the logic behind it gain full control over comfort, efficiency, and system longevity. Dealerships profit from the knowledge gap between what your car can do and what you've been told. Closing that gap costs nothing, and it changes everything about how your Toyota feels every time you drive it. If you're enjoying this video, consider watching this one where I'm sharing more secrets to outlast your Toyota engine.